Starting from the Second World War, people began to talk about strange spheres of small dimensions, which often cross the skies in groups, even numerous. They are able to stop, change direction, and accelerate at very high speed. These phenomena have been recorded in many parts of the world, but since 2000, the largest number of sightings have been recorded in Mexico. The sightings that occur in the presence of government authorities are also very credible, as in the case of the sighting of Jalapa in Mexico, which occurred in 2005. During a public ceremony, in which the governor of the province was present at the delivery of new police cars, a formation of unidentified flying objects was sighted in the sky. Such phenomenon was even filmed by the local TV operators themselves.
Aquí te voy a mostrar una flotilla.
These images show a flotilla that was registered in Mexico City. We can observe more than 100 of these objects, which were flying in the sky at a speed that has been estimated between 300 and 500 kilometers per hour.
Creemos que estas esferas no son de la...
We think that these spheres are not terrestrial vehicles, because they create geometric shapes, stop in the sky, or move together at the same time.
No conocemos esta...
We do not know a technology like that on Earth, and therefore we assume that they do not belong to this world, and that they are the evidence of an alien presence on our planet.
ajena a nuestro planeta.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
No, son 24, 26.
¿Yo cuánto 20?
During the Second World War, the pilots of the planes operating in the two opposing camps often reported that they have been joined by mysterious spheres of light, capable of maneuvers impossible to be done by their planes. Despite numerous attempts to distance them and evade their pursuit, they could not. Often the spheres almost anticipated the maneuvers of the most experienced pilots. The presence of these strange objects affected the entire war scenario, from Europe to the Far Eastern, and soon everybody realized that they were not secret weapons made by the enemy. They were given the name food figures. Their appearance was of spheres of iridescent brightness, ranging from red to orange, yellow, white and green. The instrumentation on board the aircraft showed malfunctions during the appearance of these mysterious vehicles. Once the radars became operational, it was realized that, very often, they were not detected by these devices. At least officially, the commission set up by both the Allies and the Germans to investigate the phenomenon did not get any serious result. After an initial moment of dismay and understandable fear that these were secret enemy weapons, pilots and their commands got used to this presence, believing it to be inoffensive. According to the testimonies of the pilots, there were made many films of these objects, but until nowadays they have been kept in the secret military archives. In the 50s, films made by occasional witnesses begin to appear, showing these objects both alone and in formation. What we see in the images is in accordance with the testimonies of military pilots. In this video, we see that the operator frames a sphere that stays immobile in the sky, and an airplane flying nearby. This video was made in January 1976 over the English county of Wiltshire during an experimental flight of the Concorde. It was made by some operators who were present on another British Airways plane. The maneuvers done by the white sphere are the exact example of what was declared by the pilots during the Second World War. The object gets close to the Concorde, runs in front of the windows, and then suddenly splashes upwards at high speed. An extraordinary first testimony comes from the American astronaut James McDivitt, who was able to make the footage of a sphere that he had approached his spacecraft during his flight on board the Gemini 4 in June 1965.
I happened to glance out one time, and there against the black...
I'm looking from the porthole, and out there, against the black sky, there is a white object. It is the shape of a sphere, and performs movements with angles of even 40 degrees.
During the STS-37 mission, which took place in April 1991, an object was filmed almost identical to the previous one. In this case, it didn't disappear suddenly, but remained wavy in front of the camera, for a time sufficient to better appreciate its characteristics. In the enlargement, we can observe the slight fluctuation of the object while stationing in front of the lens. As regards this extraordinary footage, we are inside the Spaceflight Control Center of Moscow. On the giant screen, where images from space are projected, you can see the Russian orbital station. At some point, the operator in the control center pointed the camera towards the big screen to frame a scene that is almost unbelievable. In fact, we see a luminous and pulsating sphere coming from right to bottom, going obliquely next to the orbital station, and immediately after, another one that descends vertically to the right of the screen. Therefore, from the right, both at the bottom and at the top, two other spheres appear and slowly cross the visual field. The images are puzzling. During the maneuvers, for docking and uncoupling the shuttle from the mirror, we can see numerous pulsating objects circling near the terrestrial ships. The maneuvers that many of these objects perform suggest that they are equipped with an autonomous propulsion, and that they cannot be artificial satellites, meteors, space junk, fragments of ice, or anything else. From the bottom comes a new luminous and pulsating sphere that as soon as entered the camera field changes its direction, also increasing the speed. Immediately after, this aircraft is followed by a smaller object, and then by a second, which emerges from under the orbital station.